Hi everyone, this is Frank DeMore. Today is May 18th of 2011 and I'm going to give you some more information connecting the Bible prophecies with current events. If this is the first time at my YouTube channel, if you just found me, I would ask that you go to my website, which is www.bibleprophecyman.com. And when you're there, you'll see the front and the back cover of my book, and below it is a link. Click to the link and you could download my documentary called The Last Chronicles of Planet Earth for free. And this is what I normally do in this ministry. I have been doing this for 35 years. Is giving you the current events and connecting the dots between what is happening to show you that all the warnings that Jesus talked about are actually taking place, and soon the rest of the prophecies that haven't been fulfilled will be taking place. Now, if you go and you look or you read the scriptures, if you read Matthew chapter 24, Luke chapter 21, Mark chapter 13, if you read Revelation chapter 7, verse 15 through 16, and Revelation chapter 16, verses 6 or 8 through 11, you'll see that heat, intense heat, and thirst, and famines, and droughts, and all these things are mentioned as signs for the last days. And also in Revelation chapter 6, for example, it talks about people working all day long to buy a small amount of food, barley and or wheat and barley. So we know that something has happened to the food prices that has gone sky high, skyrocketing, probably more so than any time in history, the level of the prices, so people can't afford food and they'll be working all day long. And we see the progression of the food, the increases in the food are taking place right now, and there's many reasons why that this is taking place. Some of the reasons: drought, insects, flooding, these massive storms that are coming in. And obviously there's other reasons, for example, wars and civil wars where people neglect the land and they don't plant the crops, and as a result most of the country starts to suffer. And so what I'm going to do, there's a host of articles that came out. I had somebody today email me this information, and I just want to give thanks to the David Shadow, who sent me most of this information, the links that I had to go and click to, but it saved me a lot of time, and I'm very grateful for the help that he gave to me. So what I'd like to do is show you what is taking place, and when you go to my website, you'll see the name of the article, and then below it there's a link. Now usually what I do is I copy and paste some of the information from the article, but in this case there's so much of this information, I just put the headline to the report, the link, so that you could read it, but I'm going to actually give you the information in these videos, and I probably two videos to cover this information. Now, one of the first articles that came out, it says the U.S. corn prices jump as bad weather threatens production. Now, if you go to my book and you read my book, you're going to see what's been happening with the produce, the wheat, the barley, the food, and not just in the United States, but across the world. I've documented what's taking place. There's a lot of information in there, but you can see that steadily the price of food, just like we see that's going to happen in Revelation 6:6, the warning there, we see that the path to that prophecy is being set into place. So it says this: Chicago corn on Monday witnessed the biggest rise in a week as market expected that the U.S. wet weather would delay spring planting and threaten the crop yield. Wheat also rebounded from an earlier weakness, but soybeans further declined amid expectation that soybeans would gain acres. It goes down to say that the rain in parts of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, which I'm going to be covering in a few minutes here, was twice the normal amount in the past month, according to the weather forecast. Floods are even swamping fields in Mississippi River Delta areas. And besides the market hearsay went that China may have brought near 1 million metric tons of old corn crop, which also helped drive corn higher. So there's a lot of variables to take a look at. We see that the flooding is especially down the Mississippi River, where they actually closed business on the Mississippi River because it's almost 48 feet. I mean, record levels since 1937. We see massive amounts of crops, farmland, homes just wiped out, destroyed. Here's another one. It says, and I'm going to put this up. The letters are pretty big. You should be able to see that pretty good. It says, wheat damage claims may signal worst harvest than forecast. Remember, every time I hear information about the wheat, I go right to Revelation 6:6, where the Lord talks about people will be working for the wheat, quart of wheat for all day long. So it says wheat crops in the U.S. Great Plains are showing signs that the production may plunge more than the government forecast last week, as hot weather and the lack of rain erode plant quality and force farmers to harvest early. One of the signs is drought, famine, people going hungry. All of these things are interconnected. As of May 15th, U.S. winter wheat was the worst condition since 1996, with 44% of the fields rated poor or very poor by the government. The National Weather Service estimates that rainfall in the past 2 months was less than half of normal in much of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, where insurance adjuster David Reed said he's had 300 farmers claim for drought damage in his area this season already, 10 times more than last year. And obviously, if the Lord tells us in Mark 13:8 that the last days signs would be like birth pangs, and we keep seeing information like this, that it's worse than it was last year, 10 times as worse it was last year, these are the signs of the birth pangs. It goes on to say, I went out to look at the fields, and it looked like the tips of the heads were burnt after temperatures last week topped 100 degrees Fahrenheit, said Reed, an area claims supervisor in Stockton, Kansas, for Rural Community Insurance Services, a unit of Wells Fargo and Company. It's kind of scary. I would think that the abandonment numbers probably are going to be fairly high. Now, other people are going to be going bankrupt. I mean, they're losing their livelihood by this extreme weather. And obviously, if you read Revelation, this is exactly what we're going to expect. And so things are going to get much worse. And it goes on to say that after a Russian drought led to the drop in the global output in 2010, this prospect of smaller crops in the U.S., the world's largest exporter, has sent wheat futures up 63% this past year. So that's quite a raise. It says it's getting to the point where across the large section of the wheat belt, it's too late for rain to do any good. McMimmy said, the crop conditions continue to decline. I don't think it would be too surprising to see production figures decline again. And keep this in mind, when the crops decrease, what happens? If you go to the grocery store, you'll see what happens. You're going to be paying more money for the produce and whatever you're buying, because when there's less of the produce, less of the crops, the higher the price. And this is what we're seeing continuously month after month. Goes on to say dry weather already is forcing farmers to harvest 2 weeks ahead of the normal in Texas and Oklahoma, according to Stillwater, Oklahoma-based wheat marketer Plans Gains Inc. Kansas, Texas, and Oklahoma produced 608.4 million bushels of wheat last year, or 28% of the U.S. of the total U.S. supplies, according to USDA. Those states are the biggest growers of the hard red winter variety. This year, the USDA expects produce to drop 63%, in Texas 38%, Oklahoma and 27% in Kansas compared with 2010. None of these statistics are really good news for the economy, for the farmers, and for the people going to the grocery stores. Now here's another one. Soggy Michigan springs put clamps on crops. Now, if you read my book, you're going to see that information like this is popping up all over the world. And we have some really strange weather. And the weather is, when you look at the news, you'll see as a byproduct of this weird weather, it's destroying people's livelihoods and the crops. Now this one says, Michigan farmers are watching the calendar and kicking the fields as a spat of unpredictable weather continues to cut into their crucial spring planting time. Farmers statewide are weeks behind where they should be because of the rain-soaked fields. As of Friday, agriculture experts estimate growers were only 20% to 25% done with the spring planting. And almost already downfall, or a steady downfall, dumped nearly an inch of rain on the region Saturday and Sunday, said Bob Duchscherer, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service. The weekend storm brought the month's rainfall total to 2.6 inches, nearly an inch above normal. That's on top of the abnormal wet April when 6.45 inches of rain fell, nearly 2 inches above the average. And like a cruel joke, Mother Nature, the planting delays coincide with what some predict will be a record high prices for commodity crops such as corn. Again, telling you that you're going to be paying more for food. Corn is expected to fetch $7 per bushel this year compared with $4.35 last year, according to the Michigan Corn Growers Association. It says corn prices have more than doubled since last summer and hit an all-time high of 7.76 on April 11th. The price had risen because demand for ethanol producers and overseas customers has grown faster than supply. So a lot of these crops are being used to put into cars, and all of these issues are driving the prices sky high. Now, I'm going to go out. I have two more articles for you, or three actually, so I'm going to cover this in my next video. And so just scroll down, and this will be video number 2 concerning the food prices and all these other prophecies that I just meant. Thanks.